All right, I'm back from vacation, and I watched episode 2 of The Mandalorian. So, let's review it. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
It's a me,
Dario!
Woohoo! Let's go!
All right, so I know you were all wondering, and I did survive the wedding. It was rough going there. It was great. I had a lot of fun, but it was rough at times. I don't think I've ever been that hungover, or I am currently still hungover. I have no idea. Anyway, I was told several times that I looked terrible, so that's always nice to hear. You know, even before the trip started, like, dude, you look really, really tired. Like, oh, nice, thanks. That's such a nice thing to hear. You know, it's always nice to hear from people that care about you. Anywho, let me just give you a quick reminder that you can listen to the podcast everywhere: SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes, iHeartRadio app, Podcast Addict, Google Podcast, everywhere as Super Dario World Podcast. And you can also, any comments, questions, suggestions, you can just find me on Facebook as Super Dario World or on Instagram as Super Dario World. Anyway, the wedding was fun. I actually talked about it today on the show podcast, the P1 podcast, if you want to listen to that. I'll talk about it, since I already talked about it there. I won't get too much into it here. I'll probably save it for the Saturday one, the one that I do in Spanish, because I already talked about it in English. I'll get into all the ridiculous stuff, all the ridiculousness that doesn't translate as well. I also started getting parts for MIDI computer that I'm really excited for, which means that maybe I will even stop recording here. I will start doing everything from home, which I'm really, really looking forward to. I'm looking forward to no longer having to wait for a freaking hour for this thing to export. So hopefully things will work out. Things will be moving in the good direction, right? Hopefully things will start going smoothly and my life will suck a little bit less. But I'm excited. Anyway, I'm getting the stuff. Excited. I'm not excited to have to pay for it, but whatever. You know, you got to do what you got to do. But anyway, let's continue, because I'm liking this. I'm really liking the show. But let's review it fully in The Good, the Bad, and the Mandalorian.
I like those odds.
All right, so for those of you who don't know how this works, basically, in the good, I'll tell you things that I liked from the episode. In the bad, I'll tell you things that I did not like from the episode. And in the Mandalorian, I'll just share a fun fact from the Star Wars universe. Which, by the way, you know what? I'll find a way to work this in. So let's get started with always. We'll try to be positive. So let's start off with the good. All right. So, one of my complaints from episode 1 was that the puppetry looked kind of silly, and I really hated. I think it's Nick Nolte's character, the mask. It just looks so fake. The CGI is so great on that show. The mask, and there was a little goblin thingy. I don't remember what species that's called. That they just look so crappy. However, episode 2, Baby Yoda. The best part of episode 2 was probably Baby Yoda. I'm loving the Western style. I'm loving that more is being said than done. More is being done than said. Baby Yoda is a great example. He has no lines. Baby Yoda has no lines, and he doesn't even have a name. I love that I have no idea what the name of the main character is, and I have no idea what the name of Baby Yoda is or what his species is. And most of their relationship is nonverbal communication. It's great. I am loving that fact. I love anything that has to do with the man with no name. I love when characters do more, so that's great. But the puppetry they had to create it for Baby Yoda is insanely good. It's insanely good. The range of emotions that little thing can express, it's wild, man. It's wild. I remember when the movie Logan came out, I was having this debate with a friend, and he was saying, like, dude, that movie is going to live and die with the little girl. Like, it's all about the girl's acting chops. Well, here, that episode lived and died by how real or how much that little puppet could express, and it's nuts, man. Like, the best character of the show is probably Baby Yoda right now. It's great. And here's the thing that I like the most, or that I'm most excited for. What the hell is the plot going to be with that character? I mean, what is the Mandalorian going to do? Because he's at a fork in the road, man. It's is he going to hand him over to the Empire and get his payday, or is he going to be chased by the Empire for the rest of his life while he tries to protect that thing. We don't know. We're still not sure what type of character this guy is, because he's not bad but not good either. He's not a good guy either. So it's leading into a very, very interesting plot line, and I'm excited for it. And like I said, it's really, really well made. The CGI is great, and the puppetry, man, it was nuts. It was nuts. Okay, now also because over the weekend I was on a flight and I wanted to play the Pokemon games, but I'm actually I'm a little bit disappointed. I'm waiting to see if they can patch something up. All right, I'll just tell you. They have like, what is it? I forget the term. The point is experience share. They have automatic experience share, and that's something that I don't like. I hate automatic experience share, so I want them to take away that option. I'm a grinder. I like leveling up every single Pokemon by myself. I don't like experience share. But for those of you who don't know, basically that means that if I'm fighting with one Pokemon and the experience that he gets from that battle, all the Pokemon in my party get it. To me, that's BS, and it's not cool. That's not how you train a Pokemon. Anyway, coming back to the reason why I'm excited about this. So over on my flight, I had my Switch with me, and I was planning on playing Pokemon the whole time. But that happened, and I discovered that was part of the game. I was like, I don't want to play right now. I'm going to wait to see if they patch that up so I can take away that option. And so I took a book with me. And the book was Heir to the Empire, Star Wars Heir to the Empire. Now, for those of you who remember this, over at Comic-Con, I got to meet the author of Heir to the Empire, Timothy Zahn. And we got to meet him because Timothy Zahn is the favorite writer of Jared Padalecki from Supernatural. And so my friend Derek, while we were going to interview the guys from Supernatural, every single year that he interviews Jared Padalecki, or from every single event, he says like, oh no, if I could do something, I'd walk the floor and I'd go meet some of my favorite authors, because he loves the Star Wars books. And so what Jared got is he got Timothy Zahn to go and meet Jared Padalecki at the press room. So it was a great moment. It's one of my favorite moments of Comic-Con. You can probably check it out at reviewnation.net. You could. The video's still up there. Point is, I got to have a few minutes of conversation alone with Timothy while Derek was setting other things up. I was, just hanging out. And he mentioned one thing that I was like, okay, you got me. We were talking about The Last Jedi, and I mentioned something that really bothered me about the ships. It's like, why are they chasing them? You got light speed. Why don't you just jump ahead, turn around, and, pin them down? Because the last thing you want to do is you want to give your enemies more time. You just, instead of chasing them, go to the, cut them off. It's pretty simple, flanking. And Timothy Zahn, his answer was, yeah, it's because they know nothing of military strategy. Oh, it's like they know nothing of military strategy. And to me, it was like, you just dropped military strategy on me? All right, I'm in. I'll check out your stuff. And so on the flight, I was planning on sleeping, but I got really into the book, and I got really into that particular story. And that story has to do with what happens with the Empire after the fall of the Death Star and the Emperor. And it's how they're trying to regroup, how they're trying to come back. So if the Mandalorian takes place in this particular time in history, this is after the fall of the Empire. So if there's a way that the Mandalorian leads into the story of Thrawn, that would be amazing. Because Thrawn is the leader of the Empire at that point, and he's a military genius, but on an amazing level. That's like the smartest military mind the Empire's ever had, and it's so the book is basically the adventures of Luke, Leia, and Han trying to deal with Zahn, a military genius. It's great. It's a great story. I highly recommend it. But I'm really looking forward to seeing if the Mandalorian delves into those books, because it's a big complaint that everybody's had about the new trilogy, and I can see why, because that story is nuts. It's nuts. Anyway, so. I probably ranted a little bit more than I expected about that one. Point is, that was the good. Now, let's go into the bad. So, things that I did not like. I am concerned that the main character has had too much help from the writers. Too much ex machina has been going down. Deus Ex Machina is a term used that basically means the hand of God, and it's a term that's used when the writers save a character because of reasons. Like literally, a character is not dead because of BS, and several times throughout the episode, that dude should be dead. At least I could forgive a lot of them because supposedly Mandalorian armor, the type of metal that they have on certain parts, because he doesn't have a full Barsic armor. I always forget the name. It's supposed to be able to withstand even lightsabers. So I get certain things that he should survive, but being rammed by the giant bear rhino, he should be dead. In fact, at one point, he even just gives up. He's like, all right, at least I'll scratch it before I die. And he gets saved by Baby Yoda, which, by the way, bringing a baby to a giant bear rhino fight, let's just say it was bad strategy. I would have left him a little bit further back. But, I mean, bounty hunters are after it. I get it why he maybe did not make that decision, or why he made that decision. And the whole hitting him once with a knife, killing that giant thing, it's too ridiculous. It sucks because the scene was so cool. It looks, the CGI on that show is amazing. The beast looked amazing. The dude continued his terrible luck with animals. And for it to go down that way, I just didn't like it. It was too easy. He didn't earn it. And a similar thing happened in episode 1. This guy's supposed to be a badass, one of the most badass bunny hunters or commando soldiers out there. And he's just not earning it. A lot of it has just been luck by the authors. That the writers are like, nope, well, I mean, he can't die, so let's just make up some ridiculous BS of why he survived. Now, there was a point where he was chasing down the Jawas, and that was pretty cool. And he actually, well, he failed, but he was trying, and you can see how this guy is kind of a badass. But at the end, it was just, he just got his ass kicked, and the only reason why he's alive is because the Ex Machina. So that's the bad. So the good, great. I love Baby Yoda. The issue is not Baby Yoda. The issue is the Ex Machina that came with him. But anyway, that was good. That was the bad. Let's continue with the Mandalorian. All right, so I talked about the history of Mandalore a little bit on last week's podcast. So now let's go into something that I consider to be one of the coolest things of the Mandalorians. Now, the Mandalorians have really amazing style. Like, their armors are really cool, and they have probably the coolest lightsaber out there. Now, there haven't been, like I mentioned before, Mandalorians, Jedis did not really get along, but there have been Mandalorian Jedis. And the very first Mandalorian Jedi was named Tare Vizsla. Pretty sure that's not how you say his name, but I'll try. Tare Vizsla. And this guy created something called the Darksaber. Now, the Darksaber is the coolest lightsaber out there. It's not like a regular lightsaber that's kind of round. This one is flat. So it looks closer to a cutlass than it looks closer to a pirate sword than it would look to the regular lightsaber, and it's all black. It's black light. It looks extremely cool. And over time, well, after the death of Tare Vizsla, this Darksaber was kept at the Jedi Temple. And during the Mandalorian Jedi War, the Mandalorians basically snuck into the Jedi Temple, stole that blade, and a lot of other things happened that led to the fall of the Old Republic. I'm sorry, not the Old Empire, the Old Republic. So, after they stole that saber, they brought it back to Mandalore, and it kind of became a rallying symbol for the planet, or at least for the warriors of the planet. And they conquered the planet, and it became kind of like a symbol. It became kind of like the Excalibur of Mandalore. It was passed down the Vizsla line. It led to other characters that I already spoke about in the last episode, and now currently it's the leader of the planet, Ren. I always forget her first name. No, it's not Tristan Ren. The Ren have it. Point is, it's not in the Vizsla anymore. They have it, and it's still in the hands of the leader of the Mandalorian. And I'm going to put up a picture here because I'm doing it on YouTube so you can see what it looks like. It is the coolest looking lightsaber. Like, if I could pick a custom lightsaber, it would be that one. Because it's the coolest one, at least I think. Even the handle's pretty cool. And I think it has a, what do you call it, cross guard, a short one. It's actually, you know what, now I think about it, it's probably closer to a katana than anything else. Point is, it's really cool. And that's it. I think that's it. That's enough fun facts for today. I'm tired. I need to go home. It's also extremely hot in here in the studio. So that's it for today. Tomorrow, I'm not sure what I'm doing, but I'll try to keep it interesting. I got a lot of work to catch up on. A lot. I'm really behind, and I got to start building my computer. So hopefully you enjoyed that. As always, any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me on Instagram, SuperDario_World. As always, thank you for listening, and I'll see you again tomorrow.